Hello, good to have you join me on another informative episode of Housing Development, your go-to source for trending housing information in Nigeria and beyond. As always, I am your housing diva, Fleur Ani. The mortgage market in Nigeria is highly driven by movement in interest rate. Just as higher rates reduce demand for mortgages in the sector, for many individuals and businesses, an increase in interest rate is significantly impacting affordability and investment in the market. On the program today, we shall be discussing the effect of high mortgage rates on owning a home in Nigeria. This and more will be coming up right after the news making rounds in the sector. I will be back shortly.
President Bola Tinubu has assured prospective investors in the country that his administration will provide a better business climate for them to thrive. This was disclosed in a statement by his Special Advisor, Special Duties, Communication and Strategy, Dele Alake, in Abuja. President Tinubu, while receiving the Airtel delegation, recalled his historic connection with the telecommunication company when it started as Econet Wireless while he was governor of Lagos State, stating that he facilitated and supported the entry of the company into Nigeria to liberalize the telecommunications industry. He praised the growth of the company and welcomed the offer of partnership to further deepen economic growth and eradicate poverty among Nigerians. The Nigerian Institution of Surveyors has said the increasing demand for urban lands in Abuja and other major cities for mixed development has led to encroachment and conversion of fragile and recreational land for the residential purposes. This was part of the fallout of the 57th Annual General Meeting of the Institute held in Abuja recently. According to the president of NIS, Ibitoye Olomo-Laton, while reading the communique of the meeting, stated that the government and citizens' neglect of surveying caused the recent flooding incident at Trademore Estate, Abuja. Olomo-Laton linked the recent flooding incident in Trademore Estate, Abuja, to the government's approval to build on low terrain and lack of a quality drainage system. He further advised prospective buyers not to purchase land during the dry season, as its problem may not be easily detectable. Africa International Housing Show has announced that Day 1 of the 17th edition will be devoted to finding a solution to the problem of real estate data. In a statement signed by the coordinator of Africa International Housing Show, Festus Adebayo, he revealed that Dr. Yemii Kale, former Statistician General of the Federation and current Chief Economist at KPMG Nigeria, will be the keynote speaker on the Day 1 of the event, alongside other distinguished speakers from National Population Commission, Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria Mortgage Finance Company, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, amongst others. The Africa International Housing Show, AIHS, plans to introduce the Under 40 Professionals Meetup, tagged New Generation of Affordable Housing Leaders, in this year's event in Abuja. Adebayo explained that the event was established to promote development in the African housing industry by bringing leading stakeholders across various countries in Africa and beyond to exchange ideas, share the latest trends and knowledge, as well as network and interact on ways to solve the affordable housing problem in Africa.
You can visit www.africanhousingnews.com for housing, finance, and construction news. The focus on finance has, however, been very prominent for obvious reasons. This is because housing provision requires huge capital outlay, which is often beyond the capacity of the medium-income and low-income groups. A major area of concern has been mortgage financing, which has often been fingered as one of the most formidable constraints in the housing sector. The stakeholders in the real estate sector have identified the lack of access to finance and high interest mortgage rate as a major factor militating against the realization of affordable housing delivery in the country. Take a listen.
Home buyers in Nigeria are facing much higher costs of ownership in recent times due to the increased mortgage rate, double-digit interest rates, exchange rates, and inflation, among others. The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria recently lamented the impact of inflation on the cost of land and building materials, noting that 15 million naira was currently not sufficient to construct homes in certain parts of the country. In another report, it was also revealed that the majority of mortgage banks are not financially viable to meet the needs of home buyers. For many individuals and businesses, an increase in interest rates is significantly impacting affordability and investment in the market. According to Nicholas Ogbedu, a real estate developer, one of the major challenges affecting mortgages in Nigeria is the long processing period, high deduction rates by the National Housing Fund, and high interest rates, among others.
The time for processing your mortgage is too lengthy, and as well, a lot of deduction by Federal Mortgage Bank and NHF from civil servants is not being translated to housing. Mortgage is supposed to be a cushioning effect to people who don't have a means of having a bulk money to own a house. They also have the challenge of lot of documentation and non-uniformity of documentation. So when they want to do that documentation, it takes a very long period, and you get stressed out. The developer is stressed out. The people who are also processing the mortgage are also stressed out. Then the legal framework for mortgage period is not encouraging in Nigeria. So I think the government have a role to play, especially the Federal Mortgage Bank. Then the PMI, Primary Mortgage Bank. Some of them have no business to be in that institution because they are those round tripping the money given to them. Interest rate is just too high.
He emphasized the need for government to create a legal framework for mortgage houses and reduce interest rates as it is applicable in other places.
There should be harmonization on the interest rates. Now the Federal Mortgage Bank, National Housing Fund, that is even single digits, is even very, very difficult because of what? Documentation, title documents. They will tell you to bring a CFO, and the government are not giving CFO. They will tell you to go and get what's it called, RFO, and some state government, before the governor signs an RFO, it takes a lengthy period. They will give this land to big developers who will now bid out for 70 million, 80 million, and you know it's above their limits. So to my own stake, the interest rate should be reduced, and they should create a legal framework for mortgage houses as is being done in other places.
In the same vein, Mr. Lopez Awa also added that a high mortgage rate is an effect of inflation and economic indices, adding that as prices of other products increases, the mortgage will also not be an exception.
The economic indices is not helping matters. You cannot do a cash flow analysis or economic short-term or long-term analysis. What with the Nigerian economy? The Nigerian economy is not stable. There is no accurate stability where you can say in 1 month I'm going to make 100,000 naira, and from this 100,000 naira I will cushion out 30% of it for mortgage, 20% of it for mortgage, for other bills, electricity, water, and everything. By the time you do all this, you will be a beggar. Everything is going high at the same time, until everything begins to come down due to economic principles and by way of accurate and better implementation of these principles. Every other thing, it's not really a matter of blame to the agencies handling the mortgage. No, you don't blame them. The root cause is the economic indices. So how do you single out mortgage as a means that will not go up when others are going up?
Mortgages are statutory in other nations. You get value for what you pay for. But he added that reverse is the case here in Nigeria.
See, in advanced world, mortgage is statutory. You know what you get and you apply for it. You know who is qualified to apply. And when you apply, you know what you're going to get. You know how you're going to put in your money. You know a particular time when you are supposed to have finished up with everything. But now here it's not like that. You are not even, there is partiality in everything. In getting the mortgage value, there is partiality. In being able to facilitate the process, there is still partiality. So, of course, you cannot decide.
Indeed, mortgages with variable and adjustable rates are already experiencing a shift in the composition of their monthly payments towards their principal and interest rates. However, more needs to be done to enable more Nigerians to participate in mortgage scheme.
The success of any sustainable housing delivery system depends on a wide range of factors, which includes availability and accessibility to mortgage finance. It is no longer strange to know that some Nigerians, especially the low-income groups living in cities, are homeless. The reason is that the cost of construction or renting an accommodation is simply beyond the reach of an average Nigerian. Let's listen to these Nigerians on Voices on the Street as they air their opinion on accessing mortgage in Nigeria.
I think the mortgage for an average Nigerian living here in Abuja, a civil servant cannot afford because it's on the high side. I think government should look inwards, look at other options, because if they can go into high-rise buildings where it can be done at an affordable prices, at least the price can go down. But for now, it's on the high side.
Accessibility of mortgage is key. Many states, you won't access it. At the end of the day, the house cannot be sold. Why do we have that challenges? It's because sometimes need assessment of the key off-takers are not taken into consideration. That is why at the end of the day, once they are done with the building, people will reject it. They will not come for it. And when you're having a situation like that, you know what it means. Before you know, the precision will start affecting the house. We have such in Kogi State, where at the end of that completion of that structure, it doesn't worth the amount that it goes for. So where you have that kind of situation, those are supposed to be the off-taker will definitely reject it. I think that's one of the main constraints why the use of a mortgage is having a serious setback. Ordinarily, if they ease the process of assessing it, and at the same time, they need an analysis of off-takers are putting into consideration, I believe everything will fly well as it's supposed to be.
On the mortgage, I think the best option Nigeria has is to start with the youth too. Like from 25, an average Nigerian youth should start contributing, so that they will not learn the saving attitude that towards this age, I'm getting a house. Then with that, the government will now plan along with their old age. Not just when they get to 40, start selling their affordable houses, which they did not plan for.
There have been a lot of reservation about mortgage system in Nigeria because of the flexibility and the cost of assessing it, and the process you need to go through for you to be able to assess the house in Nigeria, which government needs to look into very well to make sure that it's more flexible especially for those in civil service, so that it will be very easy for them to be able to assess it and pay in a very flexible manner.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. As of today in Nigeria, we have a housing shortfall of over 20 million. What strategy should the government employ to make housing affordable and accessible to Nigerians, especially the low-income earners? Against this backdrop, to promote development in the African housing industry, Africa International Housing Show is bringing leading stakeholders across various countries in Africa and beyond to exchange ideas, share the latest trend and knowledge, network and interact on ways to solve the affordable housing problem in Africa. Being the first of its kind under the new administration, this year's event promises to be action-packed, with a theme beyond rhetorics to homes, making housing happen. Now here's a look at some of the VIP guest speakers. This year's Africa International Housing Show also focused on new generation of real estate professionals across the board, which is the Under 40 Professionals Meetup, which is tagged the new generation of affordable housing leaders. The convener of Africa International Housing Show, Festus Adebayo, had an interactive section with Young Planners Forum FCT chapter. Take a listen.
Convener of Africa International Housing Show, AIHS, Festus Adebayo, has reiterated the benefit of the Under 40 Professionals Meetup session at the 17th edition of the Africa International Housing Show, come July 24th to 27th, 2023. Adebayo, during an interactive session with Young Planners Forum, FCT chapter in Abuja, urged the youth to be enterprising, innovative, and pursue value in their various professions.
I want to encourage all of you to be enterprising, to be very innovative, to be very creative. You can say, and also be determined to solve the problem in your environment. You are not created for nothing. You are created for a purpose. God created you for a certain reason. So you have to discover why you are created.
He also added that the Under 40 Professionals Meetup session during the AIHS 2023 will enable young professionals in the build sector to interact, partner, network, and share experience for the purpose of growth and development as far as the real estate sector is concerned. Also speaking, Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners NITP FCT chapter, Town Planner Lami Ayuba, during the interactive session, noted that there is need for collaboration among the various town planning professionals in West Africa as well as those in the built profession.
The issue is there is need, like the young one said, there's need for mentorship and there is need for more collaboration between the different town planning institutes in West Africa or in Africa at large. There's need for maybe an annual conference, maybe a periodic seminar or workshop amongst the town planners in Africa and West Africa, so that we'll collaborate and have a format to work with to develop African cities, because as the statistics show, African cities are the fastest growing cities with large population and very youthful population that you can use to plan the future of cities.
Town planner Favor Chimaobi added that town planners are the custodians of the environment and its sustainability, adding that there is a need for collaboration among professionals scattered all over the globe.
This is a time where planners will be calling for partnerships and collaboration. I'm a strong advocate of the Sustainable Development Goals, and the last goal, which talks about partnership, if you look at it critically, is one of the major or one of the best of them, if you allow me to use that. Why do I say so? Is because through partnership we can achieve a lot. If we hold hands together, we can achieve a lot. Town planners are custodians of the environment, trying to create livable and sustainable environment for everyone. So how do we attain or how do we achieve that? Is by making sure that we have different collaborators, partners scattered across all walks of profession coming together to join hands with the town planners to make sure that human settlements are sustainable and livable enough for everybody.
Town planner Muhammad Lawal also emphasized the importance of inspiration among youths in the built industry, noting that those who are inspired are more prone to succeed in the profession.
I think it has to do with inspiration. See, town planning is a kind of profession where if you are inspired by monetary gains, you are probably on the wrong path, because town planning is about service first to socio-economic development and to sustainable development of the place. And younger people may not see that as a priority when especially choosing a career path. A lot of people are more attracted to careers that will, in the short term, provide financial benefits. And when they look at older town planners, they may feel like, well, that's probably not the kind of life I want to live in terms of my financial comfort and things like that. So I think it's about being inspired, understanding what the objective of town planning is first, and then if that's more understood, people will become more attracted to town planning as opposed to looking for short financial like professions, maybe tech sector or things like that, where you can be paid in dollars right away.
Housing is a fundamental human right that must be guaranteed to everybody. For a socially just and sustainable recovery, we need to make sure that every citizen benefits from decent, affordable, and sustainable housing. Let's reflect on these as I end today's episode of Housing Development. I remain your housing diva, Lur On.